Greetings and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to do my absolute best in attempting to explain to you what exactly Microsoft's strategy is regarding its Xbox brand. There's a lot of people that they just don't get it. And I'm inclined to believe that most of these people that I see on X, on YouTube, but mostly on X and social media in general, they don't have any idea what is really going on. I've seen people say Xbox is dead. There's no point to owning an Xbox console. I've heard people say it's redundant. I've heard all sorts of nonsense. People don't understand basic, not even basic, advanced levels of business. Most gamers, and if this doesn't apply, let it fly. But most gamers, they're just used to picking up a controller and mashing buttons. They'll go on social media, they'll spew their little opinion. They don't know jack shit about what they're talking about. And that's just what it comes down to. So when I go through this and I listen and I read and I'm like, I feel like bashing my head through a wall. When I look at the campaign that Microsoft put out, where they were saying stuff like, this is an Xbox, that is an Xbox. And people, I'm amazed at how many articles from the so-called journalists and all these content creators that were criticizing Microsoft, like they just couldn't understand. They could not wrap their head around what this meant. So in a simplified way, what this means is that if you have an internet-based device that And as long as that device is not blocking Microsoft, it can be like a Gamepass or a Microsoft Xbox product can be ran on that device. That is why they're like, yeah, it can be a phone, it can be your computer, it can even, in some respects, it can be your PlayStation. This is why. Now, how did we get here? I think that's really the main question that people should be asking themselves when it comes to this. How did we get it? How did Microsoft get to the point that we are now going to see Gears of War on PlayStation? How did we get here? So you know something? I'm going to tell you exactly how we got here. But you know what you can do for me? You can subscribe to my channel. For the love of God, it is free to do so, because I'm trying to get monetized. So as I'm making videos like this, it's probably going to take me 6 to 8 hours to edit. It's the least you can do. I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to my current subscribers. Much love and respect to you guys. But for you new guys coming across, look, it's not going to kill you. Just hit the subscribe button. Like, come on. But anyway, I just had to get that off my chest, like breast reduction. So again, how did Xbox get to the point where they are now putting their first-party titles on their competitors? So what you have to understand is this. This started toward the end of the 7th generation, which I believe the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Yes. So thanks to the game The Last of Us, that is the game that won PlayStation that generation. And so as we transitioned into the 8th generation, which was the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, Microsoft kind of realized that there was no way that they were going to be able to compete with Sony PlayStation. It was doomed. There was no point. Just surrender. We get it. We lost. And this is why Microsoft shifted their direction, shifted their plans. And it's important for you to understand this, because I honestly don't think people really talk about this, either because they don't know or they undervalue the actual history behind this, because without this, we would not have where we're at now. So I want you to pay close attention to what I'm saying. So with Microsoft acknowledging that there was nothing that they could do to close the gap in terms of getting over on PlayStation. This is why when the Xbox One was first released, it was released in 13 territories. 13. You know how much PlayStation 4 was released in? 55. So already from the moment you say go, that generation was already decided, because Microsoft just was like, look, we get it. We're done. Right? Now, that is due largely because of all of the efforts Microsoft put into the Xbox 360 back then in trying to cultivate a presence in the Asian territories, which didn't work because, to be perfectly honest, the Asian markets, the Asian territories of gaming, they don't fuck with Xbox. They're blindly loyal to their own Japanese, Asian-centric companies. Americans, on the other hand, they will literally bend over for another nation's product, but shun our own product. So make that make sense, but it is what it is. So yeah. And if you don't like that, then I guess you fall into that category. Just real talk. I'm just calling it like I see it. Because Microsoft, during the time of the Xbox 360, was they were literally bending over backwards in trying to cultivate some sort of a presence, trying to get a foothold in the Asian market. And after all of the efforts, all of the money being spent, it just turned out to be nothing. So that's why when the Xbox One came out, they being Microsoft, deemed the Asian markets as tier 2 territories. They were no longer focused on Japan or the Asian markets. They prioritized North America, I think South America, and Canada, and the UK and Europe. That's what Microsoft's strategy was at the time. Now, of course, they were being led by that idiot Don Matrick, but eventually he went his own way, and we get Phil Spencer. So when Phil Spencer comes on board, Phil Spencer had the idea to create the Netflix of gaming, something that has never been done before. This is like a Vince McMahon wanting to eliminate all of the territories in pro wrestling and have one unified company. It's basically along those lines, right? So that is what Phil Spencer's vision was. So from that point on, Microsoft could give two shits about the so-called console war that they've already basically just left alone at the end of the Xbox 360 era. But for some reason, there's some of you out there that still want to keep pushing this narrative that, the console war, and these idiot journalists that get paid like $50,000, $60,000 a year to keep hammering this fuckery, where there's no such thing as a console wars. That shit is done. The only console war is what you guys push as part of your narrative, whether you're a content creator or you're on social media. So Microsoft accepted that, something, we will never get over on the PlayStation brand in terms of consoles sold. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus our efforts on our already existing fan base, which I'm a part of. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to build up our infrastructure for online. This is why Microsoft invested very heavily in various data centers across the fucking planet, okay? And to bring online connectivity to basically all corners of the globe and to bolster its cloud technology. Now, with Gamepass, Microsoft realized very early on that subscription-based services are the way of the future. If you look at Adobe, like your Photoshop, they have the Adobe suite. Even Microsoft, the parent company, right? Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of that is sold primarily as a subscription to my understanding. It's been some time, but I believe it is a subscription. So, and then you got your Netflix, Amazon, all these subscriber-based services. So that's where Microsoft was like, you know something, Phil Spencer, mind you, let's go this route and let's be the Netflix of gaming. But at the same time, we're going to continue pushing our consoles. So now, toward the end of the Xbox One era, we move into the Xbox Series era, right? Which is the current generation we're in, the 9th generation. So Microsoft decided to create the Xbox Series X, and at that time, it was the most powerful console. Don't let nobody tell you different, because if they are, they're fucking ignorant to the facts. They are. I'm just being honest. So the Xbox Series X was in fact the most powerful console, but it was sold, it was a premier console. So what Microsoft wanted to do to try to have a better chance in the 9th generation, they also wanted to have the headline of having having the cheapest in cost next generation console, which was the Xbox Series S. That's why, if you remember, during that time of the Xbox Series consoles, there were two headlines going around. We have the most powerful console, and we have the most affordable next generation system. So Microsoft had both headlines. And if you don't know it, then obviously you probably are not up on your gaming history. So in all of this, you can look up yourself. You can look this up on your own. So now that Microsoft had both, they had both headlines, they already accepted that Sony PlayStation 5 was going to outsell them regardless. But Microsoft wanted the headlines, and they got it. Now, the hardware sales of the Series X, Phil Spencer went publicly and said, and I'm paraphrasing this in an interview, he said that he does not expect had a hiccup. He does not or did not expect the Series X console to be a huge system seller. Like, he did not expect that because it was a premier console. It was very expensive. He was putting most of his eggs in the basket for the Series S because it was by far the cheaper option, cheaper in terms of cost. But if you wanted a Series X, which is, I wanted one and I got one, you can go out and buy one. But basically what I'm trying to say is the strategy from a console standpoint was not centered around to prioritize the selling of the Series X. It was not. And I think that's what a lot of people don't seem to grasp. The ultimate purpose, and this goes for every console, mind you, the ultimate point and purpose of a company selling you an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch is to bring you into the ecosystem of that company so they can make money off of you over the course of time. That is why, that is how the whole console market works. That's how it functions. So now Microsoft, with the Gamepass service, they basically turned that whole thing upside down to where now you don't need to own a console to be a part of the ecosystem of Xbox. And that is another facet or point of information that many people don't grasp. All of the people that take the fucking social media typing up a whole bunch of nonsense, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You're getting it from me straight. These are the facts. These are 100% facts. So anytime people want to show off, look at how the PlayStation 5 outsold Xbox Series X, Microsoft could give two fucks. Like, it's almost like, okay, and we don't care. It was never designed to be this mass selling juggernaut. It was meant to be a premier console that if you wanted to go and buy it as an Xbox fan, it's there for you. If you also don't want to commit that much money for that system, we have a cheaper option that is ran off of the same R2, I think it's R2 DNA. I forgot the name of the processor, but you know what the fucking shit is. R2, I think it's called. It's the same thing, but it's basically outputting. It's not outputting at 4K. So you have a more affordable option. And that's how it was back then. So that's why Microsoft didn't care that, PlayStation outsold them. They don't care. The only ones that wanted to keep pushing that narrative were these so-called stupid-ass journalists that had nothing else better to report on. They just wanted to stir up fucking drama. And that's just that's real talk. So to move forward now, with the infrastructure growing from Microsoft in terms of their servers around the world, their cloud-based technology becoming more and more advanced, and Microsoft getting more and more money over the course of time, their stock price is going through the roof. They're very, 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 very healthy financially as a company. And so that way, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, has gone on record multiple times saying he is in full support of the Xbox brand. So contrary to what some of you think out there, Xbox as a console, as a brand is going nowhere. The fucking CEO is 1 billion% behind the product, behind the console, behind Gamepass. So let's just stop with the misinformation here. Now, because, see, I understand this is going to be a long video because somebody has to take the time to explain it to people out there that simply just don't grasp it. So I decide to take up that mantle. So anyway, I digress. So now you have, where was I? You have the cloud technology getting better and better. You have Game Pass becoming much more widespread. So this is where Microsoft decided, if you remember recently, not that long ago, I think it happened sometime last year, that they decided to put a few games on PlayStation. And that caused everybody to lose their shit. I think it was Sea of Thieves. I think maybe it was Forza. It was like a few games. And everybody lost their shit. They didn't understand. I understood what they were doing. And then Phil Spencer had an interview saying, some guy asked him, is this all we're going to see, or are we going to see more games in the future come to PlayStation? And he was he wasn't committed to the answer, but I kind of read in between the lines. He wanted to see how those games would fare in the PlayStation marketplace. And obviously it did very well. You know, there are PlayStation fans out there, to their credit, that they enjoy their PlayStation, but they also had an interest in some Xbox games, but maybe, they didn't have the money. They didn't feel like investing into the console, but now they have an opportunity to play the games that people like myself have been playing. So what is happening here is what you call a good old-fashioned licensing deal. It's like one of the hallmarks of business. Microsoft approaches Sony and says, hey, we're going to give you X amount of games to sell on your platform. And then here are our terms. And the terms, from what I understand, is that Microsoft gets 70% of all sales relating to Xbox games purchased through the PlayStation ecosystem. And Sony gains 30%. So that is what's been happening here. So that's why you're seeing Gears of War that's going to be put on PlayStation. This is why you're going to eventually see Halo and every other fucking game. Now, to the concern, I've seen an article where there allegedly are some game developers, some third-party developers that say, well, we fear that there's going to be no point in releasing games on the Xbox console if they're going to be placed on the PlayStation anyway. And there are other people online that have this sort of mindset as well, because they just don't grasp what's happening. So let me explain what this is. If you have a game, let's say if you have Grand Theft Auto 5, let's say this is Grand Theft Auto 6. So it's Grand Theft Auto 6. And you have a SKU for the PC, you have a SKU for the PlayStation 5, and you have a SKU for the Xbox One. It's never going to be redundant to have games on a particular platform and having them also ported to another. It's never a bad thing. And the same goes for first party, because you're going to get so many sales, so much money, X amount of money off of, let's say, a Halo 7. Let's throw it out, Halo 7, right? Halo 7 releases on a Xbox console. Us Xbox folk buy it on the console. But now Microsoft ports it on over to PlayStation. Well, that doesn't affect us because we're already playing Halo 7 on our fucking Xbox. So we don't care. We're playing the game. Now, you PlayStation folk, you guys can go and buy that Halo 7. And every time you guys buy it, 70% of that money is coming right back to Microsoft. Right back to Microsoft. So the beauty of this is that Microsoft is utilizing PlayStation's larger installed base. What that means is the amount of consoles that are owned across the world, right? So anytime you would see Microsoft has 35 million or 45 million installed base versus PlayStation's, that they're just talking about how many systems are actually in people's homes. That's the install base. So let's just say if PlayStation, let's just say an arbitrary number. Let's say PlayStation has 100 million install base and the Xbox Series X console is 40 million. If you do the math, so let's just say the vast majority of that 40 million, we all go out and buy the Halo 7 game. Microsoft gets all of that money, 100% profit. Now we have the 100 million of PlayStation owners. Let's say the majority of PlayStation owners goes and buys. So let's just say out of 100 million, let's say 70 million of them go and buy that Halo game. That means 70 million of that. Let's say if the game was $80. Let's say if the game was $70, right? So 70% of that times 70 million is coming back to Microsoft on top of the fucking money and sales from the people that purchased it on an Xbox platform. Is it starting to make sense now? Microsoft is making money hand over fist. And for whatever reason, some of you out there still don't fucking get it. And it annoys the shit out of me whenever I go on X and I see all of this doom talk saying, oh, Xbox is done. Why? Like, these people don't fucking get it. And I have a feeling that even after I upload this video, there's going to be somebody respectfully that's going to come into the comment section and they're going to try to find a gotcha moment in my video, and they're probably going to say, oh yeah, but what about this? What about that? And I'm like, bro, oh my God. I feel like it's just so annoying because it's like I see that 2 + 2 is 4, but then the vast majority of other people, they just don't get it. And they're seeing, instead of it being 4, they're thinking it's 50. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you see that? Like, Microsoft porting their games over to the PlayStation makes 1 billion% business sense. It makes 1 billion% business sense. because again, PlayStation has the advantage in terms of its install base. More people own a PlayStation than an Xbox. So why wouldn't Microsoft say, you know something? Since we don't care about the fucking console wars anymore, we don't give a shit about that. You guys do. We don't. We're in here to make fucking money. That's why I love Microsoft. So they're like, you know something? There's a lot of people out there that want to play our games, but they don't want to commit to buying our console. So you know something? Instead of trying to bring people over to our side, we're just going to go to them. And you know what the funny thing is? There is a very recent article of Phil Spencer saying the same fucking thing that you can look up yourself, where Phil Spencer said, and I think that's some people's headline, where he said, we're no longer trying to, I don't want to misquote it, but I'm paraphrasing. We're not trying to bring people over. Like, of course, don't get it twisted. Of course, Microsoft wants more people, but now it's like they're taking a different strategy where it's like, look, if you don't want to come to us, we'll just come to you. We'll just bring our games to you. And it's just like, when you have a profit spread of 70-30, that is fucking great. 70%? So like, you can't, the only thing better than that is 80-20. But even PlayStation wouldn't go for that deal. I would have, come on, that's a little bit too crazy, but I think that is very fair for both parties. PlayStation is getting more people to play on their console because let's face it, in my opinion, it looks like PlayStation's been a little bit dry as of late. I've seen the reports, okay? So having these new experiences for Sony audiences, games that we have experienced that were generational titles like a Gears of War, that helps everybody. That helps PlayStation as a company. That helps give you guys on the Sony platform new experiences and something different to play. That also helps Microsoft because we're getting 70% of that revenue for each of those games being sold to be reinvested back into Xbox brand to continue developing more games and our future hardware, of which R2, which I believe is a handheld system and an actual standalone console. So all of this talk of people like saying, "Oh, Xbox is doomed," it just boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that people just simply don't get it. So you have to forgive me for repeating certain things, but it's like, look, all of this is freestyled. I don't do scripts like a lot of your favorite content creators. So this is off the top of my head. So at least give me a little credit there because I'm reciting a lot of industry specific information literally off the top of my head. Not many people can do that. So, I'm feeling myself here, you know what I mean? So, but it's just important to understand that Microsoft is playing chess and Sony and Nintendo are playing checkers in this regard. And I can 100% say that you're going to see more Xbox games make their way to PlayStation and Nintendo as well. This is why I asked one of my friends, because I don't own a PlayStation. Like, is Gamepass on PlayStation? Like, can you buy a Gamepass membership on PlayStation? And he told me no. But he says he does see like Xbox games like Forza in the PlayStation store that you can buy. So I'm like, okay. So I have a feeling that eventually Microsoft is going to make a deal with PlayStation to actually have a Game Pass. Maybe they might tweak it a bit that you can purchase. Now, it may or may not happen because PlayStation does have their own PlayStation network that you PlayStation people subscribe to. So I don't know if Sony would allow that. because I don't know how they would coexist. Like, okay, do you buy the PSN network or do you buy the Xbox? I don't know, but I do 100% believe that we will see more Xbox titles come to PlayStation, because at the end of the day, it's all money coming back to the mothership. It's all money. So not only are we making money off our peripherals, we're making money off of our hardware sales between the Series X and the Series S. Contrary to what you believe, while it's not outselling PlayStation, people are still buying a Series S and a Series X console. So that money is still coming in, right? So that's one. You got the money from Gamepass PC, Gamepass on consoles, games purchased on the Xbox platform, games purchased on the PlayStation platform, bro, like all of the different revenue streams. Like, so you have to understand, Microsoft is playing a completely different game. In fact, Microsoft don't even deem Nintendo and Sony as competitors anymore. They don't. It's like Microsoft is so huge. Let me just put this on for you. Let me just put y'all on something. Microsoft is so massive, being one of the few, if not only trillion-dollar company. I think maybe Amazon is also trillion-dollar. I have to check it, but definitely Microsoft is a trillion-dollar company. Microsoft, if it were not for the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and the potential of the gaming industry completely crashing, Microsoft could just outright buy Nintendo and buy Sony PlayStation if they fucking wanted and if it was allowed. Microsoft has that level of capital, and I know you people don't get it. You people do not know this. In fact, let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something. We're going to let me share my screen, because you guys got to see this shit. I want you people to see what reality looks like. So we're going to go, let's see, Yahoo Finance. You think I'm bullshitting, okay? You think I'm bullshitting. So let me see. Let's stock quotes. Let's look at this shit right now. So we're going to look at Nintendo, right? Let's go to Nintendo. Okay. What is Nintendo trading at? Because see, this is what you want. This is the shit that makes sense. Fuck all of the journalists. Fuck the so-called gurus on Instagram, on Twitter or X. This is the reality. If you want to see what a company is really doing, you go to this shit. And I know a lot of gamers, respectfully, they have no idea what they've heard of stocks, but they don't really look at data like this. So there's let's see, I believe there's a way I can compare. Where is that at? All right, so now let me also look up. Let's look at Microsoft. Let's just get right to it. Let's get right fucking to it. Microsoft Corporation. That's reality, folks. That's reality. $453.13 per share. That is reality. That is fucking reality. In fact, I wish I could find where is the comparison tool. Let's go to Sony. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, there we go. And I also looked at Ubisoft. Okay, I finally figured it out. I'll definitely add a timestamp to get to this part, by the way. So this is the reality. So look at Microsoft, look at Sony, and look at Nintendo. Never mind Ubisoft, because they're basically on a lifeline. But look at these companies. I want you to understand and burn this image into your brain. Microsoft is not fucking around. If Microsoft really wanted to just buy out Sony, they could fucking do so if it were not for certain, red tape. Like, it's just, this is what people, this is what a lot of the creators, a lot of the people that shit on Microsoft, this is what they don't want you to see. This is the fucking reality. Nothing else matters. This is what matters. Microsoft could just go and buy you. That's it. Just like they bought Bethesda, just like they bought Activision, they could just purchase you. This goes beyond just picking up and mashing buttons. Like, this is what people need to understand. Like, in fact, let me click on them directly, specifically. And I want to look at, all right, so let me scroll down here. Let's look at, where is it at? Okay, so you got market cap, okay? So you have $91 billion, right? That's the market cap. Okay, all right. Now let's look at Microsoft. 91 billion, right? Let's look at Microsoft. 3.368 trillion. Look, look, it's just, I just feel like a lot of you guys just don't get it. And I'm just going to keep saying, this is reality. So whether you like Microsoft, whether you don't like Microsoft, whether you feel like, oh, we don't care, we're not going to buy an Xbox because we'll just play it on PC. You know, when I hear some of you say that, when I hear some of you say that, I laugh because I'm like, do you guys not realize that? Okay, so if you, it's almost like you're hurting Microsoft. Like, you are aware that if you buy it on PC, Microsoft is still getting your money, right? You are aware that if you buy the game on PlayStation, Microsoft is getting 70% of your money, right? Like, so explain to me in the comment section, if you dare, how having these multiple streams of revenue that are in place from $1 trillion company that could swallow Nintendo and Sony whole, explain to me how Microsoft is struggling. Explain to me how the Xbox brand is dying. Explain to me how, okay, yeah, the Xbox console is redundant. How is it redundant when there's millions of people that went out and bought an Xbox, which, you know, I'm included. So we have a console. Now, maybe you don't want to buy an Xbox console, and that's fine because Microsoft will come to you. It's almost comical. It's like, you ever see those commercials where they're like, don't worry, we won't, you don't have to come to us, we'll come to you. That's what Microsoft's doing. That's what people, that's the genius of what's going on. It's absolutely genius. And it's just like, you know, and then if you look at the sheer value that you're getting for an Xbox Game Pass as a Game Pass member. Like, I made a video that I'm soon, probably at the time of this video, I don't know, but the video will be up where I basically talk about Microsoft Game Pass and the benefits and why I believe it to be the best value in gaming. So you have that, and it's a service that for at current, $20 can get you hundreds of games that you can play at your leisure. And if you don't want to spend a half hour to an hour of downloading the shit, you can just simply play it through the cloud in a matter of moments. You can try out the game and say, you know something, I kind of like it. You know what? I want the best experience. Let me now go and download the game. Maybe you'll go out for a walk or do something, and then when you come back, the game is installed. But at least you did not have to spend that time on a game you were not sure you wanted to put on your hard drive or the time being spent. Also, you know, if you are on the fence about a game and you're like, oh, I don't really know if I want to go and buy the game. I don't know if I want to make that financial commitment. You can literally just buy Game Pass for $20 and essentially play whatever games you want for a whole fucking month. And then you can make your decision on whether or not you want to continue the membership or you just want to go out and buy that one game. So if your interest is like Doom, the Dark Ages or something like that, then you can just simply, you know what? I played Doom. I played it for a month. I love the game. I don't have to buy the game because in the month's time, I got everything I needed out of the game. You could do it that way too. Or you just say, you know something? I feel like owning the game, so I'm going to go and buy it. So I don't have to worry about keeping the membership. Because essentially, Doom, I believe, is what, $80, $70, some shit like that. So basically like 20, 30, 40, right? Like 4 months. So you're basically spending $20 to try the game out for a whole month. And then you can decide whether or not you want to make that full purchase of the game or any other game. Let's say, like for me, I play multiple games. So Game Pass works for me. But as Phil Spencer said in an interview, he said Game Pass is not for everyone. If you are the type of person that only plays 1 or 2 games and you only have that interest, the Game Pass may not be viable for you. It may not. It's like me being here in New York, in Brooklyn, and I spend over $100 for a MTA Metro card, right? We use our card. If you're not from New York, I understand you're not going to get the reference, but just understand that we would spend $100+ for a monthly Metro card. But if I'm not using that monthly Metro card that often, it's essentially a waste of money. I might as well just pay for the fare as I go. But if I'm somebody who's paying, if I'm riding the train like five days out of the 7-day week, then it makes sense for me to go and get a monthly membership. So it's like the same fucking thing. This is why these subscription services are working. So Microsoft, it gives you the option. Like, look, if you want, you can experience next generation gameplay with the Xbox Series S. Now, you won't have the 4K gaming, but you're going to be able to play a lot of the next-gen games. Or you want to go and buy the more premier version, buy an Xbox Series X, you can do it that way. Or you don't have to buy a fucking console. If you're on PC, you can experience our games by simply signing up for our Game Pass membership on PC. Or, again, for four ors. If you want, you don't want to do that, you're on a PlayStation, don't worry, we got you. We're going to bring some of our games over to you. So explain how in the fuck is that a bad thing for Microsoft? Like, I can literally end this video here because it's about 43 minutes. But shout outs to the few, maybe 5 or 6 of you that actually made it to the end of this video. But, there's a lot that I can say. It's just, and I haven't even covered everything. I really haven't. But it's just funny to me that people just don't get it. But I do hope that there are some of you that have a better understanding of it now. And if you still want to disagree with me, if you still want to fight me in the comment section, if you still want to spew your facts and figures and this, and the other, I'll try to get to your comment. But bro, this is an open and closed case. Microsoft is literally playing chess and the rest of these people are playing checkers. And they don't even, Microsoft, again, they don't even consider Nintendo or Sony to even be competitors. Microsoft is looking at Amazon as a competitor. They're looking at Google as a competitor. You PlayStation, Nintendo, you motherfuckers are small change. Y'all are like fucking chump change. By comparison, they don't care. This is why Microsoft is like, look, we'll just put our games in your system, and if you want to buy it, cool. If you do, we get 70% of your money. Done. If you journalists want to keep spewing the bullshit because you guys have nothing else better to report on and say, oh, well, Microsoft is struggling. Microsoft is, the console might be going away. There's no point in having an Xbox. Look. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave off there. More than likely, I will report more on this. But shout outs to everybody, all of my subscribers that have been rocking with me. You guys know who y'all are. And I do hope that this is a little bit better. You have a better understanding of what Microsoft is doing. Like I said, I can't cover everything because if I do this video, I might as well have made this a long ass live stream. But I will come back with Microsoft news. I will come back with Tekken 8 gameplay because I know you guys love Tekken 8 for whatever reason. In fact, I also wanted to speak on the whole Grand Theft Auto 6 situation because I have a very interesting theory that I've been kicking around in my mind as to the real reason why that game has been delayed. So anyway, let me get up out of here. I don't even know if I'm going to really edit this because I don't know. But hopefully this information related to, if it did, then please just for the love of God, just subscribe to the channel. Even if you don't want to watch my shit, just subscribe to the channel because I need like 270 more of you guys just to get monetized. And I'm just trying to make it out here. You know, I'm a very small creator. I do the best I can. It's just me. Some of these videos take me damn near 10, sometimes 6 to 10 hours to even edit and upload. So look, a simple clicking a button for you means a lot to me. Anyway, enough with the, trying to do the shameless plugs and everything. Anyway, let me get up out of here. Take care. Peace.